started with this, I think before this, in the previous lecture, we have discussed actually open system, or I should say, yes, that was part of the last lecture in which we have discussed open system steady state. We discussed the equation initially, what is the from the general equation of energy balance, how you can derive the equation for open system steady state. And then we discussed two problems in which we applied that equation and we calculated some unknown parameters. And at the in that while we were solving those problems, I showed you there that those problems involved mainly steam and water. So when you have steam and water, while solving the problems for open system, there is a term called enthalpy. So when enthalpy was involved, we said that we can find from some tables the enthalpy of steam as well as water. So this was background, and in those questions, although you were given with the enthalpies of steam or water stream at the given conditions of temperature and pressure. Example, if I do not provide you those enthalpies or internal energy specific volume, I just tell you that this is water or steam and it is available at some specific conditions, then you can also determine those properties. And here we discussed that what does latent heat mean, sensible heat mean. This already you are well aware what is heat of vaporization, and then related to this there was something called boiler. So boiler we said is a piece of equipment in which you produce the steam. So I gave you this simple example kettle which you see at the home if you are using it for boiling the water. So that's something same, like it works as a boiler actually, but on small scale, and this is also batch process. But if we can make it continuous and expand its life size as well as the heating source, then it can work as a boiler like. So after that, when we produce steam from water, so that can be classified like here I took the water system, and at 1 atmospheric pressure I told you that when it is at 0 degrees C, you know that water at 0 degrees C and 1 atmospheric pressure exists in the solid form which we call ice. And then if you start heating it up, means to add heat to this, these main crystal will start melting, and finally it is converted to the liquid. And if you further keep on heating, so temperature will start rising above 0 degrees C and it will rise up to 100 degrees C. And at 100 it again stops, because then it starts vaporizing, the steam formation starts, or water, or if there is instead of water, if there is any other liquids, that will start boiling. Okay, so we define here few terminologies, that what does subcooled liquid mean. Subcooled liquid, any liquid below its saturation or boiling temperature. For example, at 1 atm for water, boiling temperature is 100 degrees C. So if water is available at any temperature below 100, but please keep this in mind, at 1 atm, if I just change this pressure, boiling temperature will change, so this value then will vary. So for 1 atm, 100 degrees C is the boiling temperature or saturation. So below this it is subcooled liquid, but at 100 degrees C, that we call it saturated liquid, or if it is existing in the form of vapor, we call it saturated vapors. If suppose this is the water in the beaker, you are heating it up, and when it reaches to the 100, that vapor formation will start. So this, which is in the form of liquid phase, this we call it saturated liquid, because at the moment its temperature is 100 degrees C, and that's the saturated temperature or boiling temperature. As well, the vapor which are formed, they are also at 100 degrees C, so they are called saturated vapors. Then there is another terminology which you come across, that is called superheated vapors. So superheated vapor are the vapor which are available above its saturation condition. So for example, here 1 atm and 100 degrees C, the vapors are formed, that is called saturated vapor. But if I take those vapor away and further heat them up, so what will happen, they are already in the vapor phase, I am adding the heat, so this heat will be sensible heat and it will raise their temperature. And for example, if I say that water vapors are available at 1 atmospheric pressure and 110 degrees C, so can you tell me either those will be saturated vapors or superheated vapors?
Superheated.
Anyone else? Yes, you are right. So superheated vapor. Why she is saying superheated vapor? Because you are above saturation temperature and pressure, guys. Saturation temperature is 100 degrees C and 1 atmospheric is the pressure. So above this, definitely it is in the superheated region. So that can exist at even at 101, just above 100, anything will give you this light condition, which is called superheated. So I told you that either now, because the most problem which you solve here mostly in this subject as well as in thermodynamics, they involve this water and steam system. So you can look at these properties from some table, we call them steam table. So in steam table, various properties of steam are given. So guys, do you remember, all those who have seen last time the table, which properties are given in those tables? Anyone? Which properties are available in steam table? I think already you have seen steam table last time. I also showed you.
There's
Visuddha?
specific enthalpy.
Okay, mostly you have specific enthalpy, specific volume, and specific
Specific internal energy.
internal energy. Yeah, but maybe sometime later on, I think when you come back here and we'll do this lab of thermodynamics, there we have some coolant that is also one like chemical, and for that the table which we have that also contains something called entropy, because there we need some you the table. And for example, here there is also another question as well. You can keep those things which already discussed in those problem last time, that you also can keep in your mind as well as this one. For example, here he said determine the vapor pressure, specific internal energy, and specific enthalpy of saturated steam at this temperature. So when he said saturated steam, what does he mean?
सिर्फ वेपर और लिक्विड जो है वो साथ एग्जिस्ट कर रहे हैं.
Yeah, they coexist. These vapor are just formed and they are saturated. They are at that temperature at which just phase change took place. Like they were just converted from liquid to vapor. And good, yes, you are right. At guys, remember at saturation condition, both liquid and vapor coexist. They both exist. For example, due to this reason, as I said here, saturated liquid and saturated vapor, they are existing, as I was telling you, that at 100 degrees C and 1 atm, saturated liquid as well as saturated vapor will be existed at 100 degrees C and 1 atm. So here the same thing as he said, that this is saturated steam at 133.5 degrees C. So is it possible that steam can be formed at 133.5 and it will be still saturated? Can anyone tell me this one? Is it possible? Because let me tell you, you know that at 1 atm temperature is 100 degrees C. So now this is above 100. So what does he mean? Can it be like saturated steam at this temperature? Is it possible? Sudha, Arsana, just answer it please, because others I think no one will answer. अगर और भी किसी को पता है तो you guys can go ahead. You guys don't know, please, hello, are you here?
सर कर सकती है एग्जिस्ट.
How it's yes, it's possible. Can you tell me how it's possible that we can produce steam even at 113.5 and it is saturated? Do you know what is the effect of pressure, external pressure, on the like boiling of any liquid?
सर जब प्रेशर बढ़ाते हैं तो बॉइलिंग पॉइंट इंक्रीज हो जाता है.
Good. So in this case, definitely, if he is saying that this is saturated steam and it is being produced at 133.5 degrees C, so it's mean here pressure will be, what does this mean? Pressure will be above 1 or less than 1?
इंक्रीज होगा.
pressure will be higher than 1 atmospheric, because you know this I also taught you while I was teaching psychometry 1 that if you decrease the external pressure, your boiling point decreases. If you increase it, boiling point will increase. So if boiling point, this now saturation temperature, when he's saying saturated condition, it means he's talking about the boiling point. So at this temperature, when he is saying that this is at 133.5 degrees C, it means your external pressure is higher than 1 atmospheric. So whatever that is, that will be around, I think, 3 atmospheric. So that's above 1 atmospheric. So okay, this is one question. We will look at the values when we go to the table, because he said find it. So how we can find? We can go to the steam table, which we already discussed. I will again show you quickly in a minute. So another question: show that water at 400 degrees C and 10 bar is superheated steam, and determine its specific volume, again specific internal energy and specific enthalpy relative to the liquid water at triple point and its dew point. So first of all, as he said, show that water at 400 degrees C and 10 bar is superheated steam. So can we check? Or what do you say? Will it be like superheated steam at these conditions? Yes, tell me. I mean, how you will determine? Is there any way? Can we find that at any given condition, either it is saturated steam, either it is subcooled liquid, or if it is superheated steam?
सुपरहीटेड स्टीम तो फाइंड कर सकते हैं ना, वो सुपरहीटेड स्टीम टेबल से, लेकिन सबकूल का नहीं फाइंड कर सकते.
Right, but I will tell you we can find few things. Yes, this we can find. Good. From steam table, guys. Okay, before I jump to the steam table, for example, if I tell you that water is available at 1 atm and temperature is 125 degrees C. I'm repeating it. Water is available at 1 atm and temperature is 125 degrees C. So can you tell me, except this Sana and Huda, can you tell me that it is saturated steam, superheated, or subcooled? Anyone else? 1 atm is the pressure. Please, are you guys here? Kindly speak something.
Say superheated.
Superheated.
How you know it is superheated? Can you tell me the reason?
Temperature saturation.
Good. Who is this? Roll number?
Small.
Okay, good. Thank you. So you know that at any given condition, for example, I said this is 1 atm and 125. Yeah. So mean you guys have to look, for example, at this pressure from steam table or from anywhere. You have to find what is saturation temperature at given pressure. You know that, as I told you in the previous question while I was talking about this, I told you that when you will vary the surrounding pressure, mean atmospheric pressure, its boiling point will change. But when I'm saying it is 1 atm, so this you know from like childhood always, that water boils at 100 degrees C when it is 1 atmospheric pressure. So any temperature now, we know that at 1 atmospheric pressure it boils at 100 degrees C. Any temperature, if it is above 100 degrees C, it indicates that this is superheated vapor, because in the last slide you studied the definition of superheated vapor. Understand this? So anyways, for example, here he said that this condition, this is 400 degrees C temperature and 10 bar pressure. So now I will go to any table wherever I can check that when external pressure is 10 bar, what is boiling point of water. Do you understand me? Excuse me, kindly tell me if you don't understand. I should repeat it, otherwise I'll jump to the next step. So whenever you are given the pressure, guys, kindly go to the steam table and try to find the condition, that condition in the table. If that exists, then we have to look that what is saturation temperature against this pressure. As I gave you very simple example that if you know 1 atm against 1 atm, you know this, it is always in your mind. You don't need to consult any table. But if it is any other condition than 1 atm, then definitely you have to go to some table, some literature, and can find that what is the like saturation temperature at those conditions. Okay, so when we will find it in the table, first of all we have to prove that either it is superheated steam, then we have to do some other stuff. Okay, so next, as he also said somewhere that in the in continuation of previous, show that U cap, this is specific internal energy and specific enthalpy for superheated steam depends strongly on temperature and relatively slightly on pressure. So it means you have to observe the table. So first of all, let me show you again the table in which we will look at that, like either it is saturated steam, superheated steam, and how table are presented. So, and I will also discuss these things which I have just talked to you. Guys, look here, the tables are in table, in the form of table 5, table 6, and table 7. So if you can read on the screen, it is table B5 given in the appendix B, and this is, by the way, in like book of Felder here, Felder and Rossio. So in that book, I think in Hubble it is not available in soft copy at least. So here you can see properties of saturated steams temperature table. I told you last time that properties of saturated steam, there are two type of table usually in the literature. One are called like temperature table, other are called pressure table. In temperature table, actually temperature is varied with some specific interval. For example, in this specifically given table here, temperature varies with the 2 degrees C. So you can see that initially he starts from 0.01 instead of 0, but after that there is an increase of 2 degrees C. Overall, from here you can observe. As well, against this temperature there is also given the pressure, and then because it is saturated steam, so it's mean if there is a temperature of 0, or like for example let's pick it 10. So if your temperature is 10 degrees C and steam is being formed, it means your surrounding pressure is like 0.01. It will be below definitely 1 bar, so that water can even boil at 100 degrees C, and it is just boil like saturated. Then there is a specific volume, specific internal energy, and specific enthalpy are given, and they are given for both water and steam. Why? Because we just talked about this, that at saturated condition actually water and steam both coexist. Steam is vapors of water. So if there will be any other liquid, he will write here like liquid and vapor. So because water, we already, this is a very commonly used term, that water, when we say water, it means we are talking about liquid water, and when we say it means we are talking about vapor form of water. So you guys know that when there is a temperature of 100 degrees C, at that condition water boils actually at 100 degrees C when there is a pressure of 1 atmospheric, or in bar it is 1.01. Can you see in the table please? Given here 100 and 1.01.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
Yes, sir.
this is called temperature table. So up to here he has provided us. After this, next table is same table like, but in the form of pressure. If you observe here, first column of pressure, so you can see that here he has actually increased pressure with some specific interval, and you know that temperature definitely then will be random. So you know that when there is a 1 bar pressure, we will just verify that value. So if you go here 1.01 bar, which is equal to 1 atm, you know that boiling temperature will be 100 degrees C, and you can see here the values. If you compare these values, definitely they will be equal to the values given in the previous table. This line you can just verify for your information if you are confused. Otherwise both table give same values. Sometimes it depends. For example, in this current question, he gave us the value of 133.5 degrees C. So it means we will jump to some table in which temperature is given. And by the way, in this book, it is up to the temperature of 102 degrees C. So it means you have to look for some other table in which further data is given, because saturated steam table is just, he has provided here up to 102 degrees C. So you can still find other table of saturated steam which can provide you at higher conditions. So next there was as that at 400 degrees C and 10 bar. So guys, can you see here, is there anything like up to 10 bar in these tables? Because I told you that when you have pressure, you guys have to look that at given pressure conditions, what is my saturation temperature. So I think this table is still continued after 1 atm. This pressure table, yes, it is here, so we can locate, I mean, these things. So if you want to solve that problem, which was given here, first problem, determine the vapor pressure, specific internal energy and specific enthalpy of saturated steam at 133.5 degrees C. So look here, can you read here 133.5 where there is a cursor?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
So
sir.
what is this? You guys see that I told you this still we are discussing the saturated steam, and if I go back again here, saturated steam, when it started it is temperature and pressure, and I told you that this is saturation pressure and this is saturation temperature. So when I ask you guys the question that is it mean possible that water can boil at 133.5 degrees C? Yes, it is possible. You see here what is the pressure at the moment when it is boiling at 133?
3 bar.
3 bar.
Yeah, 3 bar. Good guys. Yes, at 3 bar. So it's mean definitely you can observe from here that when it is like 1 bar, you know that it boils at 100. Sorry, 1.01 bar. It boils at 100. When it is 2 bar, it boils at 120. And I think you guys studied this stuff in thermo. So I mean at 3 bar it will boil at this. And he asked you the to find some values. So these are values for specific volume, internal energy, and enthalpy. So kindly just check these values and report there. Okay. So this was about that part. Next part, as I told you that steam is of two types. Further, there's a lot of data about this, and I think it goes up to, even you see here, even up to 92 bar, and still continued. Yes, up to like 220, 221 degrees C. So because it is saturated steam, and you know that we will then reach to some point. Did you study critical point in thermodynamics? Guys, did you study what is critical point? Uh,
Yes,
excuse
sir.
me.
Yes, sir.
Well, what is that?
Yeah.
Hoda, can you tell me what is that critical point? What does that mean?
सर जो कि टेम्परेचर और प्रेशर जो कि हाईएस्ट होता है प्योर सब्सटेंस जब वेपर और लिक्विड में एग्जिस्ट करती है
Yes, after this point, there
इक्विलिब्रियम
is like, yes, in equilibrium. After critical point, actually you can't distinguish between two phases. Like here, they are in the liquid as well as we are saying. Like because we are talking about saturation condition, all this table is about saturation, and you know that I told you that at saturation condition, vapor and liquid coexist at any given temperature and pressure. When they are just formed, for example, at 1 atm and 100 degrees C, water exists in the form of liquid as well as in the form of vapor. So this is the maximum condition up to where you can just get this condition. After this, mean you cannot get this condition. After this, there this distinguishing between like liquid and vapor will disappear. That's called critical point. So it's okay already, you know somehow. So after this, next table is now for superheated steam. So for superheated steam, for example, I told you guys that if you have temperature of like pressure of 1 atmospheric and temperature is 110 degrees C. So you already told me that this is superheated steam. So okay, let's look at another value, 1 atm and 150 degrees C. Will it be superheated steam? Yes, it can exist, but unless you don't cross the critical point. Critical point is for saturated liquid. So there, yes, this can exist. For example, I'm telling you that 1 atm and at 1 atm, what is boiling temperature for water? 100. So any temperature now above 100 indicates that this is superheated steam. Either I say 110 degrees C, 120, 150, and so on. I mean that can be any value. So as you look at this table is a bit complex as compared to the previously available table. Just look what is written here initially. I mean properties of superheated steam. So in this table, guys, you will see that both temperature and pressure are varying at the same time, and he has provided you data with respect to that. So first column, what is first column? Can anyone read what is written here?
pressure and temperature
Yeah,
Tsat.
pressure in bar, but temperature is T set, saturation temperature.
Saturation.
So what does that mean? That if you are given some pressure specific value, you can find that at this pressure what will be the boiling temperature, which you call it usually boiling temperature. I will call it like saturation. At that condition, actually the condition at which phase change takes place. So here, for example, you guys already know, let's look at that condition, that when it is like 1.01 bar or close to like 1 atm, what is temperature? That temperature is 100. So can you see here either some value of 1 bar? I think wherever the cursor is, you guys can locate 1 bar. In this column, actually,
Yes.
I'm reading.
99.9,
Yeah,
99.6.
99.6. Good. So, yeah, and you know that if it is 1.01 bar, definitely it will become exact 100. So, mean anywhere you can locate now, as he asked us the question in the slide, that when it is available at 10 bar and 400 degrees C. So as I told you one value, that it is 1 bar and 150 degrees C. So above this, definitely it is like in vapor phase. So let's look at 10 bar here, and we try to find, as I told you, that when you are given any pressure, you can find saturation temperature for that condition from your literature. So either you can find from this table as well as from the previous table. Let's go back there and try to locate 10 bar. Is there any 10 bar value? Yes, here it is 10 bar. So can you read the temperature in front of 10 bar?
179.9.
179.9.
So what does this mean? I am again on the table of saturated steam previous. So it's mean when pressure is 10 bar, steam is produced at 179.9. So it's mean any temperature above this 179.9 indicates that steam is superheated steam, because in question it was written that your pressure is 10 bar and at 10 bar, and he said 400 degrees. If you read it again, show that water at 400 degrees C and 10 bar is superheated steam. So is it proof that it is superheated steam or not?
True.
Yes, sir.
Yes, definitely it's true. It is proved. So you can also look at this table as well as guys, you can go to this table, even superheated steam. Let's try to find something. I am again still on the first column. I was just showing you the reference that you can use the superheated steam table as well as saturated steam table just to get saturation temperature. So let's look at 10 bar. I think here, yes, it is 10 bar. You can see here, I think 10. So a same temperature is given here, 179.9. Can you read?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
so it is at 179.9 at given condition. Mean a saturation temperature is this, and given condition is 400 degrees centigrade. So now if you have to look, because he said that it is at like 10 bar and 400 degrees C superheated steam, we have proved it already from here by looking at the saturation temperature. You don't need to do any calculation. What you need to do is to just go to some literature, some table in which you can read the saturation temperature of any liquid against the given pressure condition. So now this is at 4. He said after you prove it, you have to find some values, and those values we were supposed to find, I think, this same specific internal energy, specific volume, and specific enthalpy. So can you find from here? How you will find? First of all, look again, come back to the top of the table. There is some properties are still given at your given conditions of pressure. For example, at 0 bar, can you read the second column above this? He didn't mention, but here should be something called properties. Can you read the properties here? I think everyone will be able to see. There is H cap,
Yes.
U cap, and V cap. Mean specific enthalpy, specific internal energy, and specific volume are given. And above, in front of those given, is next column is for saturated water as well as saturated steam. It's mean at any given condition, for example, you can even come to this table and can locate if that value is some specific value which is available in even this table. So you can find up to here properties of saturated steam and saturated water are given. For example, for this 1 bar, you can also check from here as well as from the previous table which was for saturated, so values will be same. But next, after this line, which is vertical line here, can you read the temperatures? So you see that various temperatures are given 50, 75, 100, 150 and so on. So what does these indicate? These indicates that at these conditions, mean for example, I told you that when steam is at produced at 100 degrees C and 1 atmospheric pressure. If I keep the pressure same, but I just keep on rising the temperature of that system. So what will happen? Any heat which you will add, definitely that will increase its temperature, and when its temperature is increasing, actually what are you changing? You are changing this internal energy as well as its enthalpy as well as specific volume. So that will be changing, and that depends on the temperature. So for example, just pick this 1 bar. So at 1 bar, you know that at 99.6 degrees. So at 1 bar condition, you know water boils around 100. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
Guys,
Yes, sir.
please
Yes,
be
sir.
with me. Kindly don't lose the focus. If you have any confusion, just stop me. This is really important, and you should be able to read these table. Maybe I don't know you already know or not, but I'm just telling you again. So just at 1 bar, you know that at 100 degrees C. So now if I'm looking at this point and in front of this, I start reading these values of specific enthalpy, volume and this. So when pressure is 1 bar and at 50 degrees C, so will there be water or steam? Guys, let me repeat it. Pressure is 1 bar and temperature is 50 degrees C. I'm reading actually here the first column after this vertical line, that is 50 degrees C. So can you tell me, will it be water or steam?
सर ये तो saturation से कम है.
Saturated.
Yes, it is actually the subcooled liquid, because you know that at 1 bar, you can locate here that at 1 bar actually it should be 99.6 degree. At this temperature, steam will be first produced. So below this is simply like subcooled liquid. So what about 75? Definitely again it will be still
Subcooled liquid.
water in the liquid form, subcooled liquid. So can you guys can see here somewhere, like he has put here some stairs inside the table. Can you see?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yeah, up to some level, and after this he has just covered this area. What do you guess? What should why did he put this boundary like this? What is your guess at the moment? What he wanna show? What he wanna tell?
Subcooled liquid का data है.
Subcooled liquid.
Yeah, good. In this region, actually, there is not superheated steam. At this given condition, the provided data of U, V, H, everything, this is for liquid. So he mentioned here below the table somewhere that water is, I think, just the start of second line. Can anyone read from you, please? Water is a liquid in the enclosed region between 50 and 300 degrees C. In this region, actually, where these values are given against these temperature pressure, in these conditions, actually, there will be no superheated steam. It will be water, even not even saturated, it will be simply water. And you guys have seen like at 50 degrees C, because it is not even boiled at the moment. So even at 0.5 bar, you can see that boiling temperature of water is 81.3. So if you are looking at this data of 50 or 75, that is for water, not for steam. Kindly, is this point clear to you? If anyone has any confusion, let me know. I suppose it's clear.
Yes,
So
sir.
okay, now if you wanna check these things, so guys kindly look at this data, that what is saturation temperature at your given condition. For example, if I give you the question and I ask you that okay, there is a steam available at 1 bar pressure and 50 degrees C. So you should tell me, no sir, when there is a 1 bar pressure, the boiling temperature is 99.6. So at the 50, steam cannot exist. It will be liquid water. Understand? So now let's come back this, so that this was one important point, because this was covered area and it was important to tell you. So let's jump to that part where he asked us one question. So against this, I mean, before I find that value, I mean in the question it was given, yes, it is at 400 degrees C and 10 bar. So 10 bar we have already located here somewhere. So I was looking for 400 degrees C. So because at 10 bar boiling temperature is 180, so above this definitely it will be above this temperature like 400. That shows that it is in superheated region. So guys, you can see here that this data is given like here is a column of 50, 75, 100, 150, 200 and so on up to 300. You have a table here. Then this is in continuation on next page. Can you see what is difference on this next page? He showed us now data of only superheated, because I mean at these condition only there will be like existing something in superheated. So he just skipped these two column, initial column as well. You can read here temperature is after 350 there is a 400, 450 and so on up to 750. So let's look at in the first column here. This is 10 bar and for 400 degrees C. Can you read specific enthalpy from the table? Specific enthalpy.
3264.
Good. What is specific internal energy? Specific internal energy.
2958.
2958.
Good. And then there is specific volume. So guys, you can easily find that. Okay, from the table. I think now you can read it. I tell you these things. Understand this? So this is
Yes.
table up to here. I think everything will be clear, but still if you have any question, just kindly go through the stuff. It is being recorded, I will upload, but if still you have any difficulty, kindly let me know. And you should print this table and keep with you. Definitely you will need, I think, in the exams. So you should be able to read these. Just kindly print it so that you can locate the values. Just for practice, actually, I'm telling at the moment, these are 5-6 pages only, okay? So let's come back here. Another point, second point, which was he asked you, actually you have to show that U and H values for superheated steam, they strongly depend on temperature and relatively slightly on pressure. So what you have to do, just I mean you can check across this column of pressure. For example, you vary pressure from 1 bar to 10 bar, can look at the values and then just mean in the same manner. When you are looking at this, just keep one temperature, for example 200, and I just vary the pressure and I note down the values. Then on the other way, I will fix the pressure and I will vary the temperature and I will note down the values, and then I can prove this, that definitely values of this U and H depend on the temperature more as compared to the pressure. This is just that's it. Okay, by the way, this was very straightforward. I mean, which values I have shown you. But if you remember, last time we were solving one problem, and in that problem there was one stream of water which was available at 65 degrees C. So sometime while you are looking for the data from these table, you will come across temperature or pressure conditions such that specifically that value did not exist in the table. Then what to do? Do you have any solution for that? What does I mean here? Like that question was for water, so we will go definitely to the saturation table, because in saturation table we have water and steam both. So I told you that temperature was 65. So can you locate here 65? 65 degrees.
No.
So sometime guys
No,
you will
sir.
come across such condition. So what to do now? Is there any suggestion from your side?
Interpolation.
Sir, interpolation
Interpolation.
only.
Yeah, definitely you have to switch for interpolation, mean you have to find the data in between. So in such cases, solution is to go for interpolation. So what does interpolation mean? I will just quickly define it. If you look at its definition in these dictionaries, so interpolation just means to estimate the value of data or a function mean any parameter, between two known values. Actually, we can estimate the value of any missing point between two known points. For example, if you just see and go back to the table, you can see that there is a value for 64 and 66 that available in the table, but for 65 it is not there. So we can find that value, and that process is called interpolation. So that's process mean, if you look at this another definition, mean the addition here, not like to add. Addition mean to just calculate, to get. the number on an item into the middle of series. Middle of series means in between the values calculated based on the number or item before and after it. For example, look at this. This is one data in which there is a distance on x-axis, for example, and with respect to that distance, for example, anything on any parameter on y-axis. So here on the black points, you can see the values are given 9 and 10. So what about in between value? Can you find it? For example, if I ask you quickly. So here some of you can say 9.5, 9.4, anything like that, maybe in between, but the better way is to go for exact proper interpolation formula to calculate it. So do you know how to interpolate? Do you know any formula? Like look at this. By the way, always there will be two parameters. For example, here in the previous question, when I was looking for the enthalpy of water at 65 degrees C. So you see here there is no 65, so I cannot find like this enthalpy of water. This is column of water enthalpy, like third last column. So it will be in between here somewhere. So how to find that? That's like I represented that in one diagram. You can say that there will be one dependent variable and other independent variable. So what is, by the way, independent variable in our calculation of enthalpy and temperature?
Temperature.
Temperature, because temperature is given, we know that our temperature is 65 and we are looking for the value of enthalpy. So that is dependent variable, because that is dependent on the temperature. If I change the value of temperature, definitely that enthalpy value will change. So here you can see like it is x-axis, okay, 1 minute, and this is y-axis. So on x-axis, for example, I will have some data which will be like temperature data. On y-axis, I will have enthalpy data. So just telling you that x and y mean any parameters, and in our case, x-axis will be like temperature, y-axis will be enthalpy. Yes, Miftuda, go ahead.
सर मैंने आपसे कहना था कि हम एग्जैक्टली बीच के एक पॉइंट को डिस्कस कर रहे हैं ना, क्योंकि 65 हमें चाहिए जो कि 66 और 64 के दरमियान है. तो सर हम उनको ऐड करके उसको डिवाइड बाय 2 कर देंगे तब भी तो आ जाएगा मतलब.
हाँ, exactly. In this case, mostly if the data is like linear, its variation is like linear, so you guys can go good. It's good. I was going to talk about this, that you can take simple average, but actually I'm telling you this because here you will see that this is given data in which it is very easy, like in between values 65, between 64 and 66, so we can take even average. But the problem is on this side, on this axis, your data is varying like linearly. There is a change of 1 degree C. But what about y-axis values? Are they changing linearly? This is the problem. Due to those things, in order to avoid any conflicts or the wrong answers, we go for such method which can give us more practical or more accurate answers. Most of the time, you guys will come across such data sets that in which the variation will not be like linear or on equal intervals, because here, as you said, that temperature is changing linearly, but maybe later on you jump to some data sets in which, for example, if you increase the temperature from 65 to 66, the change is of 2 points, for example. But if I jump from 66 to 67, maybe there is a change of 3 points. So overall, this change is 5 points. If you will take average, you will get definitely answer 2.5. So in such cases, to avoid such complexities, we go for interpolation. Did you get the idea?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So because this interpolation is more accurate way, and in order to be more close or precise, we use this in most of the calculation in most of the data sets. So here, as I told you that, for example, you guys have 2 points. For example, the 2 points are, if I just connect it with the example which we are discussing, that you have 64 degrees C temperature and enthalpy. Can you locate from the table at 64? Yes, it is given there. And what about the other point? There is a 66 degrees C and enthalpy. They are available. So I have this x1 and y1 and x2 and y2. But in between, there is some point which we call it like at 65 degrees C. In this point, we have temperature, but we don't have enthalpy. So how to find that? or sometime you will come across some data sets in which maybe y parameter is given and x parameter is unknown. Like out of these two, one is definitely unknown, which you have to find. So in order to find that, we have one formula which can give you those values, that how you can calculate. So do you know what is formula in that case? I'm not talking about average formula and interpolation formula in this case. From where does it come? Did you study this? Actually, I want to just make sure, otherwise I should discuss all the basics.
Equation of lines.
Yes sir, पढ़ा है फिर moment.
Okay, पढ़ा हुआ. Okay, good. So quickly I will go through this. For example, here I told you that you have to find x is given. X is our temperature, which is definitely known value. Most of the time we know, and this another value which is missing is enthalpy in your case, and here I can just give it general name y. So this is the formula for linear interpolation. We call it linear interpolation because here we have some main linear equation. This is not curved straight line equation. Okay, that can have different slope, mean that can have like here slope at various points, but this is linear. This remember. So in this case, this is formula. So from where does it come? Now it is a bit complex and definitely difficult to remember, but let me tell you very easy way that from where this formula come. If even you forget how you can find it, there is no need to like grammar this. You can very easily find. But before I jump to that, if I ask you, there is a straight line like this. If I find the slope at any point on this line, will this be same or different? I'm again repeating kindly that if I look at one line and on one line I pick any point on that line, the value of slope on each of those points will be same or different. And you guys are telling same. Good. So here actually the problem is we have one point on which some value is missing. So I can use actually here the slope. Here actually we are using the slope formula, and we are using that to rearrange and then finally make this formula. So okay, if you guys are saying mean slope of 2 points, or I select 2, 3, any number of points, if their slope is equal, so I can put them equal to each other. But before putting them equal to each other, can you tell me how you can find the slope? Is there any formula for finding the slope of line?
Sir, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus
good.
x1.
Yes, this we call it simply as a rise over run slope, which I am representing here with m. You guys, I mean, from various previous classes know that we usually represent slope with m, and m small usually you write, but here I wrote just m capital. There's no issue. You can use any variable. So actually here I mean slope of 0.2, and 0.2 I'm taking it as where x1 and x2 are given. That is 0.2, and x1 and xy. Y1, this is 0.1. So at this point, slope will be actually rise over run. Rise. What does this mean? Rise mean your distance across y-axis. Rise mean if you look at this here, if someone moves along this line, actually he or she is rising. And if I just complete here the triangle, you guys know that if I just put it here one line as well, one line above this, so that line is showing that this is rise. Are you understanding it? Are you with me, please? So I'm talking about this here. Yeah. Okay. So this I completed the triangle. So what are the values at this point? Can you tell me what are the values at this point? I mean, what are variable values? It is, you know, x2. So what you did here, you moved from x1 to x2. So this we call it usually run. You just move across like x-axis. And what is value of y-axis here? You know that y just you see here, it is y1 and it is y2 here.
Right.
Guys, hello, this is not that difficult rocket science. So just this is x2 comma y1. So now when I have to find this distance from here to here, from this point to above 1, if I want to reach to that point, so this is I'm just moving only vertically, so that is rising, moving upward. So if I want to find the value, so what will be the value of this axis? For example, if I give it the value, it is 4 and this value is 2, y is 2. So what will be value of this line? Hey, can you tell me? And let's give it x1 as a 1, like this is 1, and x2 is 3. So can you tell me what is the value of this line, vertical as well as like the horizontal line?
सर वर्टिकल
Hello?
की तो 3 है ना, मतलब
No, actually,
x is
I
equals to
gave
3.
it. No. Mean vertical line to this one. This value is I gave you y2. Y point is here. It is 4 and y1 is 2. So you will just take their difference, guys. So 4 minus 2, it is 2. So I can write it actually. This rise is simply y2 minus y1. This is calculated in this way, like rise divided by, as I said, it is run. So run is along x-axis. So along x-axis it is x2 minus x1. This is how you calculate the slope. Already you know this formula, but from where it come, maybe you are not aware. So this is simple rise over run. Rise means the difference between the values on y-axis, and this is run is along x-axis. So this is slope of this point 2. If I want to find now the slope of our unknown point, that is 0.3, because I'm looking for the value of some variable and I want to use this slope concept to calculate that value. So what is slope at 0.3? Can anyone tell? I think you can look at this formula and will agree with this. Look, just draw the line from here to here. This point is in between, it is in between. I gave it a value of light somewhere. We don't give it any value. It is like variable y here, okay, and it is starting from, you see here, from y1. So value will be like y minus y1, like for previous you did y2 minus y1. So in this case it will be simple, y minus y1 divided by x minus x1, because this here has a value variable actually in the form of x. So it will be like this, and we can give it a number like it is 2, as well as you can give it number y at 3 positions, so you can find their even numeric values. So as I already told you that wherever you find the slopes on any line, mean if you calculate slope at this point 3, 0.2, 0.1, wherever you guys calculate the slope, the slopes are always equal to each other. So can I put these equation, this equation, for example, A equation equal to B? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes sir.
For example, A is equal to 2 and B is equal to 2. So what does that mean?
सर दोनों की स्लोप
A
2
is
है.
equal to B.
A is equal to 2 and B is also equal to 2. It's mean A is equal to
B.
B.
yes. So same here. The slope of one point is equal to some value that is even in the form of variables definitely, and slope of 0.3 is also equal to some value that is also in the form of variable. So guys, a whole someone is calling. So okay. So here I mean, if I put them equal to each other, I will get this equation. I can write mean in any arrangement. Maybe I wrote 0.3 slope first, then I wrote this. Otherwise, you can write it in the other way. So can you see here? It is y minus y1 over x minus x1 is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. The same thing. And why they are equal? Because slope at any point is they are equal. So I am just equating them by using that mean formula that way. So if you just rearrange this equation now. So can you get the equation which is at the top? Quickly tell me.
Yes, sir.
Is it the same equation which is given at the top?
Yes sir.
And which you
Yes.
usually use for? So this is from where it comes. So wherever if you forget the formula, no need to worry, don't need to panic. Just draw a simple quick diagram. Put them as these variable like xy, give them 1, 2 or any other name. You can xa, xb, ya, yb, xy, and just mean rearrange them and make a formula. In this formula actually what was unknown, as I told you that the thing, let me link it with the temperature and enthalpy. So in that case, we were given this temperature which was value x. Actually, there was a temperature 64 and 66. Their values were available. So it's mean when I have temperature 64 as well as this enthalpy that is in the table. So I know x1 and y1. Similarly, if I look at the other point, that was 66, its enthalpy and temperature were known, this point was also known. So when I come back to in between point, inside those, so that was temperature was given, but you don't know the enthalpy, and that enthalpy is like represented with the value y. So you can just find it by using this simple formula. No need to grammar it, just understand that from where does it come and I can use it. Guys, clear? If you have any question, you can tell me. Also shown to you with the other variables here. The same thing is given in this formula also. I mean, if you give them the different names, x1, x2, y1, y2, and x3, y3, I mean, there is no need to worry. Just put them in the diagram here, like on the one line, and quickly draw. Just derive, and you will get this formula. Understand? If anyone has any question, please let me know. Now, if I ask you how you will find the value of enthalpy at 65 degrees C, so what you need from here is this x-axis value, temperature 64 and temperature 66, and their enthalpy, these two values, 267.9 and 276.2. And what is unknown, we don't know, but on this side we know 65. So you will come here, put them again here, and can find it. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.